Hello everyone. So today we are with Manish Burma. He is a pass out from JNU, and he is like a Deshbhakt, Andhbhakt, pro BJP, and he was an ABVP member earlier and a very good friend of mine. So we are going to do
Childhood friends, way.
yeah, childhood friends. Yes. So we are going to do a question and answers round with him, and I'm going to ask him a couple of questions related to what has been going on in the country for the past month. So here goes my first question.
Right.
Are you ready?
I'm absolutely ready.
Perfect. So my first question is, what is your opinion on Operation Sindoor? Are you happy with it, or do you think that it was partial and not complete, or what are your suggestions? What do you think should have been or could have been better in that operation?
Well, thank you, Nishtha. It's great
Move
to
your
be.
head here.
No, I'm moving, and it's great to be doing this.
No, you're supposed to come to the limelight.
No, I am in the limelight. I
Yeah.
don't need to, come close to the camera.
No, you have
And
to.
at times, distances can be quite deceptive. Depends on the messaging I'm doing, and it's great to be with Nishtha, my dear childhood friend.
Yay.
And with regards to her question about Operation Sindoor, I'll answer it at three different levels: tactical level, narrative level, and at a level of humanity, a humanitarian level. Tactical level, it was an out-and-out success. Indian armed forces have not only pummeled the Pakistani state into submission, as was evident with all the satellite and radio evidence that India presented, as opposed to Pakistani state, who came up with laughable evidence in the form of fake videos, morphed images, and of course, the disgrace of an army general, General Asim Munir, who was made the field marshal. So it only shows their desperation.
Or failed marshal.
A failed marshal. I mean, because see, look at the irony of things. Pakistan claimed that their air force scored victories against India. That they apparently downed 5 to 6 Indian jets. But they admitted that their land army had failed. So if that was the case, they should have decorated rather their air chief marshal as a field marshal and not their army chief. So it itself shows that they are onto a savings spree, and nobody's buying their crap except from, let's say, some sold out leftists and some rabid
That's you.
And some rabid religious zealous rabid Islamists. I'm not categorizing all Muslims, because I know that there are a good number of sensible Muslims around there, and these rabid Islamists, they are loyal to none. They are not even loyal to their faith. They are just a bunch of pretentious bigots who live life for their own sadistic ends. And the reason they are very frustrated these days, and especially after Operation Sindoor, and this is where I come to the humanitarian level, they label each one of us as warmonger who was supporting Operation Sindoor, right? But if you cannot distinguish between unprovoked killing of unarmed civilians, unarmed tourists, and between rightful retaliation done by a state, and that too precisely choosing military and terrorist targets, leaving aside civilian targets, then I think that's the lack of growth of your emotional aptitude or your cognitive abilities. So please get yourself checked instead of labeling people as warmonger. To know what warmongering is, you need to study the concept of war, an ancient Greek concept going back to the days of Thucydides, the Spartan conflict, the conflict going back to 6th century BC. Just throwing up words won't cut much ice neither with Nishtha or with me.
Yes.
And at a humanitarian concept, because we had to give a message, because that terrorist attack at Pahalgam was not an attack directed towards an army or a government. When you specifically asked their religion before killing them, it was a cultural attack. It was an attack on a certain way of life. But look how professionally we responded. We never targeted at civilian casual locations. We precisely targeted their military and terror camps. And this operation, by the way, is in truce. This operation is in temporary truce. It has not ceased yet. So now it's up to Pakistan whether they want to, ratchet it up further, or I hope sense prevails in them, because this Indian government, this Indian establishment can, or rather to a certain extent has taught them a lesson they'll remember. And this lesson was very important because India's rise is a sine qua non for humanity. It's a Latin word. And as they say in Latin, omnia di causa. You leftists, you pretend to be very erudite, try and surf through some Latin dictionaries.
So I am very proud of my friend who is a pass out from JNU, yet not a leftist. No Afzal Guru,
no
peace mongering and
no
all
Hafiz
of that.
Saeed,
No Hafiz Saeed.
No Kanhaiya Kumar.
We
no
want
Umar
Hafiz
Khalid.
Saeed in India.
No Kanhaiya Kumar, no Umar Khalid.
Absolutely. That's why I called him to my place today, so that we get clarity that even JNU cannot be stereotyped. So, my next question to you and my final question to you, because you took a very long time in answering the first question and you almost covered all the points. What do you think is going to happen next in this India-Pakistan, whatever is going on?
Well, now it depends upon Pakistan how they take things ahead. If they dismantle and address their terror problem, which I doubt they will, then of course India will be left with no choice but to hit back once again at a time and place of our choosing. India has repeatedly mentioned that we are not a warmongering nation, we are not a warmongering society. See, nation constitutes its society. India is a peace-loving nation because Indians and Hindus are peace-loving people. Doesn't matter what you leftists label us with. You people are actually mentally demented psychopaths. You should rather seek some psychological and mental treatment instead of, throwing up big phrases. I have done my PhD, a very hard-fought PhD rather, because my PhD coincided with the COVID phase where there were lockdown for 2 subsequent years. I do have leftist friends. It's not to say that I do not have, but those are good and non-judgmental people. But to the petty, judgmental lot like you, I mean, your opinion doesn't matter. You are sellouts. I know personally about most of you. You carry this pretense of being revolutionaries, of being rebels, of perpetually taking a stand against the government, perpetually in fight against the government, but at the slightest of prospects of monetary benefits given by the government, whenever they offer you with a small job, some fellowship opportunity, at the slightest of financial incentives, you literally, जो हिंदी में कहते हैं ना, औकात दिखा देते हो अपनी. So I know most of you very well in person. I know most of you, and please do not stay under this illusion, or rather delusion, that you are well-learned people. Rather, you are very run-of-the-mill academicians who thrive on very banal and cliched epistemology of study. And learn to engage in non-judgmental, free-flowing conversation, because everybody has an opinion, and learn to respect that. Everybody has a background, they have their own stories. So learn to respect that. And as far as Operation Sindoor is concerned, India's stand is clear. As of now, we have ceased our operations, provided Pakistan respects our cessation of operations. And if they wake up hostilities at some point of time,
but then
India
again,
will give it back to them in kind.
Yes, and the Indus Water Treaty is still in abeyance.
My study of the Indus Water Treaty's mountain is being made out of a molehill. Current provisions, I think we can stop 20% of the total water flow. I don't think more than 20%.
No, but then the government is also working on building more dams to restrict the water and also
since the
divide it.
1960s agreement, a lot of that water is legally still a part of us. And it was going down the drains, and Pakistan was not making use of all that available natural ecosystem and infrastructure to them.
Absolutely.
What use have they made of all that water? What use have they made of all the fundings and dole-outs and financial packages given to them by US in the form of Kerry Lugar Pact, given to them in the form of IMF aid, 24 rounds of aid? What tangible use, what productive use have they done of that aid? So instead of that water going waste, India, which aspires to be a 10 trillion economy soon, India, which has to feed a huge population, we might as well make good use of that water, because Pakistan anyways is not going to make use of that water. So And in fact, I would rather say that conscientious Pakistani people with conscience, they are much easy to deal with, and they are much easy to trust in instead of these perfidious, perfunctory leftists. And all that warmongering and peace, that spectacle that you put up, that spectacle has been called out long time back. You are rather the actual agents of fanatic hatred and institutionalized bias. No amount of moral preaching and resorting to English adjectives can take that lid, can take that thing off your faces. So yeah, I have nothing much to say. I have dealt with you a lot for a long
but
time.
I have one last question.
Yeah.
What, according to you, is an andhbhakt?
I don't know. I mean, andhbhakt could be
And do we, who stand in favor of our country's interest, rightfully stand to be demarcated as andhbhakts?
Yeah, I don't care what these people say. Andhbhakt, I think, are those who, in the history of post-independence India, so many states go into elections, right? So many states go into elections.
All the states go
all
into
the states
election.
go into elections, but we haven't seen the kind of violence that takes place in West Bengal in any other state. So those who remain mum on over that cycle of violence, I think rather they are andhbhakts. And those who do not distinguish between unprovoked killings of unarmed tourists, and they equate it with the rightful retaliation done by a state, by a standing army, maintaining the yardsticks or holding up to the yardsticks of professionalism and prudence, they are andhbhakts. And those, I think, who are insecure, maybe of their so-called accumulated knowledge until now, I think they are andhbhakts. And no amount of labeling, no amount of tags will deter us from supporting our country, from supporting what is sensible and supporting what is humanity, because India's survival is a must for humanity to survive. Today, if Indian ethos...
See, that is my point. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that is my point, that why andhbhakt is always labelled as someone who is pro-Modi or pro-BJP.
Because maybe because Modi doesn't give a shit to what they say. He's the first leader in decades.
Can you please repeat what you told me
He doesn't
today
give a
evening?
shit. Modi doesn't give a shit to what these petty people say. He is going about his country, his national reconstruction mission. He wants to comprehensively develop India's comprehensive national power index. He's in fact, under Modi, we have the best relation with the Middle Eastern Muslim countries. And Modi has given a very strong message that, see, we are not anti any religion. We are against proselytizers and those who engage in religious conversion, those who harbor demographic change agendas, and those who communally target people belonging to other religious denominations. I mean, it is under the leadership of Modi that United Arab Emirates today is building the world's largest Hindu temple. So would you call UAE Prime Minister also andhbhakt? So that's up to you. If you want to call Mohammed bin Salman or Sheikh Aziz of UAE andhbhakt, that is up to you. The point is, gradually sensible people, Hindus, Muslims, Christians, Jews, Buddhists, we are all getting together and we will corner and isolate you, because you left.
Absolutely.
You will be isolated. You live your pity and vindictive lives at the most for 10 more years. After that, we won't be having this chat even about you. See,
Absolutely.
You should be thankful that we are even devoting this much of time. I think, Nishtha, around 10 to 11 minutes I think we have given to them, right?
So the last 50 seconds I'll take for myself.
Ask something else. I don't want to answer.
No. I am done with asking questions. So the bottom line of the discussion is that I couldn't say so much. So I had to invite this guy to my place so that, because I know my political and national beliefs are resonated by this person. So he has the exact words to, give out the message to you guys about what I feel about the current situation. And yes, my thoughts are totally in alignment to what he feels and what he has said and what he has explained. So this is what I feel, and that is the message we had to give it out to you today. So thank you guys. Bye. See ya.
Good night.
Good night.